new video. Welcome. I want to talk a little bit more today about frequently misused words in biomedical writing. These are more words that we see misused in research papers in the medical domain. And the editors here and I have put together a list of words that we commonly see that cause editors or reviewers to misunderstand what we are trying to say. The first word I want to talk about today is alternation and alteration. They are different. Now, alternation means two things occurring by term. One, then two, then one, then two. And alteration is usually a synonym for mutation, for example, in genes. So there's a big difference here, so we want to get it right. Let me show you an example of this. This was associated with DNA alternations. No alterations. Anything with DNA or genes, we're not talking about an alternation, but an alteration. Let me talk about affect and effect, because these are also misunderstood. Affect means to influence. Effect means to cause. Remember, effect is much stronger than affect. An effect means one thing by itself can cause. Affect may be many things, maybe several things. This could be a small part of the total effect. Here's an example. The addition of this to cultured rat cells affected polyglutamate formation. Now, if we say that, we mean that it could either have increased or decreased, we don't know, but it was not the only cause or the only influence. It was just one. If we say effected, we mean it caused polyglutamate formation. Much stronger when you use the word effect. Let me talk about interval and period, because this is another important one. Just remember that an interval is the time between two specific events, and period is the time during which the events occur. Think about an interval as a doing nothing time and a period as a doing something time. So in your method section, for example, if you're doing something, it's a period. If you're doing nothing, if you're waiting, it is an interval. Track and tracks. Now, again, these can be confused, but remember that really, in colloquial usage, to leave out the term tract when discussing infections. For example, you can say respiratory infection or urinary infection, but for a medical writer, the correct form is to use the word tract as well. Remember the difference between can and may. Now, can refers to the power or ability to do something, but may only means possibility or probability. So if you think you can do something, just say you can do it. But if you think that it may rain or the possibility of rain, use the word may. So really, for things that we can control, we say can, but for things we can't control, we would say may. Common and popular. This is another interesting error. Popular, I see sometimes wrongly used to mean common or widespread or prevalent. But in fact, the word popular means people like it, and common means it's everywhere. So let me show you a funny example of this and how to avoid it. Here's a sentence. Strain of the ACL of the knee is a popular injury among voodoo practitioners. It looks like everybody loves to get their ACL strained. It's popular. But no, it is common. People don't like it, but it happens. Common injury. Here's another one. Cancer was the most popular cause of death in this population. No one wants to die of cancer. It was a common cause of death in this population. Conservative and conserved. Different words, and important to understand them. When we talk about DNA and part of the DNA that is retained, we say conserved. When we talk about a standardized procedure or treatment that has established procedures, we would say conservative. Conservative means not changing a lot, staying with the old way. Here's an example. The conservative region of the gene, no, conserved region. Whenever you're talking about a region of the gene, The correct term is not conservative, but conserved. All clones contained the highly conservative sequence, no conserved sequence. Due to complications, we select conserved treatment, no conservative treatment for this case. The last thing I want to talk about is case and patient. Now, when we talk about a case, we talk about the instance of the disease. But when we talk about a patient, we talk about the person with the disease. Here's an example of this. We attempted to clarify the impact of the discussion and explanation by analyzing the attitude of each of the 25 cases with depression. Now, cases can't have depression. People can have depression, or patients with depression would be correct here. We reported a patient with cervical cancer, or we report a case of cervical cancer. You could say patient with, but my first sentence, we report a patient of, no. Patient is not cervical cancer. A case, the disease itself, is cervical cancer. So just remember, a patient is a person, a case is a disease. Now, patients or cases can be described, only cases are reported. Here's an example. We report a patient of this disease. No, we report a case of this. We're talking about the disease here. Well, that's all we have for you today. If you'd like more information, I encourage you to visit my blog, editing.tw/blog. On this blog, I have lots of great information about how Chinese and Taiwanese scholars can publish better in international journals, and I have all the articles are in Chinese. They're easy to read, and I cover a lot of word choice articles in particular. It's editing.tw/blog. And if you want our help with revising your paper, we can do that. We can change the English. We can add a lot of comments about different word choices you could use or different things you could do in your paper to help your reader understand better. We only do research, and we really specialize in the language errors of Chinese-speaking scholars. So please take a look at our site. That's editing.tw. Thanks for joining us today. Goodbye.